Hi, I'm Ben Ashwell, editor of IR Magazine and Corporate Secretary. I'm here at the ESG Integration Forum and joined by Daniel O from Morrow Sodali. Thanks for joining me, Daniel.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. So, Daniel, you have a really interesting perspective, having spent time on the investment stewardship side with a public company and now as an advisor. So, what do you think are the big ESG issues that public companies should be thinking about?
Yeah, I think when you're talking about ESG, and the issue actually means different things to different people. And that's something that I actually learned having been on the investor side, on the issuer side, now on the advisory side. And the one thing I wanted to make sure is the ESG is a long journey. Yeah, so if you're looking for a finish line, you're not going to find it. And I think that's where the practitioner, whether it's IR or sustainability people or issuer side, are struggling because they're not really sure where to go. But from an investor's point of view, what they're looking for is, again, not the perfect product, the finished product, but what they're looking for is whether the company is taking right steps or moving in the right directions. So that's what the whole ESG, the trends, what development should be, because every year it's something different, right? As you know, this is an evolving subject. Sure. So to do that and to be a successful company, and I think what's really important is, one, you need to know your shareholders, meaning not every single shareholder has the same view on this issue, as you know. And I'm actually on the advisory side. I'm working with some companies, and we send them the company or prepare their engagement, and they're coming back and with a very different feedback from different investors, which is completely natural. But I think to some people it's really a little bit surprising because they thought all investors are on the same page. That's not true. So the first thing is you need to know your shareholders and what they believe and what issues they do care. And then the second thing is that communication. And of course, many institutional investors are asking for better disclosure. That's the easy way for them to get information. But I think having the relationship, or face-to-face relationship, is really becoming more important. And last few days, I've talked to some largest institutional investors, and they were complaining about how much engagement they have, even in December. Yeah, and some mentioned that actually this is what the first week of December, they have the next few days, even the first week, they have about 20 engagements. And that's really striking because when I was at BlackRock, December was a quiet month, right, before the holiday. So again, the good thing is the company is trying to engage with the institutional investors and get their feedback, and I think that's really, really positive. So I think having the communication channel open is really important. Lastly, internally, among inside of the issuers world, what's really, really important is collaboration. Yeah, I mean, we are here today at the IR Magazine conference, and so we do have a lot of IR practitioners here. But the reason the collaboration between IR, legal, HR, sustainability team, or whoever actually might be involved in the topic is so crucial because you have to have a clear one message. Yeah. So even for example, for IR, you talk to portfolio managers and analysts who knows companies so well, and then sometimes you talk to governance people. It's a completely different conversation. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's when IR people need collaboration from legal and HR and sustainability team when they're actually talking about ESG issues. So I cannot emphasize more how the collaboration is so crucial to have good relationship with the institutional investors. So these are my, I think, key highlights or key points that everybody should be aware. And when you say the ESG trend, I mean, still the disclosure is going to be always the biggest problem because I personally see there's no company who trying to damage their reputation or harm people, for example, right? We are all trying to be a responsible company. But so when institutional investors raise any ESG issues, what I found is all disclosure issue. Yeah. So I think disclosure is going to be always a problem or issue. So all should be focusing on. But going into, let's say, 2020, new fiscal year proxy season, I think the new trend that we actually see on the ground is the gender diversity is becoming more important issues. And as you know, the BlackRock and Vanguard, they changed their voting policies. ISS is not changing their voting guidance, but in our conversation with other institutional investors, they're actually looking into this policy really carefully too. So gender diversity is going to be a big issue going forward, but the next question is, after gender diversity, what is next? What diversity? So there's a lot of different ethnicity diversity, or even age diversity. To me, I think that's actually a very important issue, as we are living in the tech world, and the world is moving fast. And I think having the different generation representatives in the boardroom, it'll be actually really crucial for companies. So those some issues that we actually see. And then on the controversial side, I think after the BRT announcement in August, and I think, and also followed by CII's public statement, and I think there's a real confusion as to what the purpose of cooperation means, right? And of course, the European market has a different standards and developments, but it doesn't mean that the US will have similar changes by the regulatory bodies. I doubt it. But having said that, it doesn't mean that the issue will go away. Yeah. So I think if you have a company strategy having the purpose of cooperation, and many institutional investors think that actually is the right thing to do. And for them, it's important to assess the company's long-term strategy with the purpose of cooperation. So I think that issue is going to be really interesting, not from a voting perspective, I hope not, but at least from an engagement perspective. Yeah. So those will be what I think as some of the hot trends. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for those, Daniel. I'd particularly like to flag the collaboration point that you were making, because that's really the mandate for the event that we're at here today. You know, the idea of bringing together IR, corporate secretary, sustainability, and to the point you were making, you know, even just 1 year ago, I'm sure you've experienced this, you could talk to IR professionals and say, what are the material ESG issues for you? And actually an answer you got a lot of the time was, we don't get investor questions about ESG. And that's one of the reasons for this event, is because we would talk to corporate secretaries, sometimes at the same company, and they would say, actually, we do get questions. And so, you know, that's a huge part of today's event. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for participating in the video, and enjoy the day.